If you're considering a career in medicine, this show is for you. I'm going to be talking to a variety of healthcare professionals who are going to share the reality of what it takes to have a successful career in medicine. The good, the bad, the inspiring, the funny. My name is Michelle Neske. I'm a physician assistant and your host, about to bring you Beyond the Scope. If you've done research into applying to physician assistant school, you know how crazy it is with all the different requirements, programs out there, and how do you choose which one is best for you? Well, luckily, two of my friends and PAs created an amazing platform that you can do this all in one place called My PA Box. Research schools by state, track your hours, look up all the requirements, literally in one spot at mypabox.com. You can also use their PA school match to enter in all your demographic information, your GPA, whether or not you took the GRE or PA CAT, and filter for schools that would be the best fit for you. You guys, this has been game changing for pre-PAs, and I use it all the time with my clients. You can go ahead and get a 1-year subscription. And because you're listening to this podcast, if you use Posh PA 15, you can get 15% off your 1-year subscription. You will not regret this. If you are a pre-PA, it will sort things out so much for you and just make it easier to do the research on the programs that are the best fit for you. So check them out, mypabox.com. You guys, I am beyond excited to talk to Odell. I mean, he has the best story. So Odell Miller is a doctor, a physical therapy student at Midwestern University. He played Division I football, where he then had the opportunity to try out for 2 NFL teams. He owns 2 businesses and plans to open multiple clinics in the future. His goals are to motivate and inspire others through not only his words, but actions. He documents his journey through YouTube video blogs, cool and inspiring content on social media, which I have seen and y'all probably have not, or maybe you have, and it's amazing. He loves meeting and connecting with new people and encourages everyone to reach out to him on social media at Odell Miller 25. I'm so excited to have him today, you guys. Welcome, Odell Miller.
Thanks for having me on. This is such a good opportunity.
I was just recording or telling everybody about your introduction, and part of the reason why I was so compelled to follow you and your story is just unbelievable. So I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
So let's first off, everybody, Odell played a Division I football. Where did you play Division I football?
I played at Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, which is like halfway between Detroit and Chicago.
Nice. And then you tried out for 2 NFL teams, right?
Yep.
All right. So what happened? Tell us what happened.
So that was a super cool opportunity, actually. So basically, I went to the Cleveland Browns and then the Washington Redskins. So I got to try out. So I lasted in the NFL for about 3 months or something like that. But I actually have a cool story about that. So I actually walked on at Western Michigan University, which was Division I. Yeah, I walked on and then worked my way up to a starting position and then had the great opportunity to go on to the next level, which is a very slim chance. So that was cool.
So tell us about your high school career then. So what happened in high school? What was your sort of mentorship like from an athletic standpoint, academic standpoint? What was that like for you?
So in high school, I was huge into basketball. And at first I wanted to actually play basketball in college. That was my thing. And then I was like, okay, I'm not tall enough, which I'm 6'4", so people would be like, wow, that's tall, but not for basketball.
Yeah, true.
So I wanted to play basketball, but I ended up playing football. And yeah, that's how it started. And then my academic career was normal, nothing extraordinary, nothing out of the box.
Okay. So what position did you play?
I played a lot of positions. In high school, I played middle linebacker, I played tight end. And then in college, I started off at defensive end. And then they moved me to tight end, and that's where
and that's kind of where you stayed through college and everything.
Got all my opportunities.
So when you went into college, what were you majoring in?
Right away, I majored in exercise science.
Really? Okay. Yep. So that was something that you wanted sort of the whole way through.
I've always been interested in exercise and stuff like that. So right away, I was like that. So I was deciding between that and business, which a little bit about my business background. But so I was deciding between that and business, and I was like, I can always open a business without a business degree, but like exercise science or physical therapy, I can go farther with that as far as academically.
Yeah. So tell us how you balanced that, because I work with a lot of student athletes
Hmm.
who have, obviously work really hard in
Yeah.
college to try to balance all of that. So what did you do to try to handle all of that at the same time?
First of all, my priority and my scheduling, just um, staying on top of what was priority for me, and
Mhm.
yeah, scheduling, just staying on top of. I don't know how to explain it.
Mhm.
I get this question a lot, actually,
Yeah,
surprisingly, and
I
I
mean,
think I have an answer for it now. But literally, like just knowing what I wanted to do with my goals, and I just set myself up for that, and I just scheduled everything to the
So tell us, so what were your goals? So like tell me what your goals were. So you were your goals to be an NFL football player,
Mhm.
or were your goals to maybe be an NFL football player but have a
Mhm.
really solid, education so that if
Mhm.
you didn't become an NFL football player, you
Mhm.
would be where you are today.
Yeah,
So sort of what happened there?
I would be lying if I didn't say that I wanted to be an NFL player. I definitely
Yeah.
wanted to do that. So my goal was to just first literally get a scholarship, get my school paid for football. And then I was like, I want to go to the NFL. So then I started working for
Yeah.
that. And then I got the opportunity. And then literally me not making it, God has opened my eyes to so many different things that I had no idea that I was going to open. So now I really feel like I'm called to do this, and I'm able to like reach and touch so many more people. Like I've gotten way more DMs and people saying that I'm inspiring them more than when I was in the NFL. So
Mhm.
that was surprising to me. But obviously, I really
Yeah.
did want to go to the NFL, and but
Yeah. So when you were, you know, when you decided or when the NFL thing didn't work out,
mhm.
why did you decide to do a doctorate in physical therapy? Like what happened there?
Okay, so that was I always knew that I wanted to do something bigger. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
So my goal was to go to the NFL, but I wasn't delusional. I've always said if the NFL doesn't work out, like I'm gonna have a backup, and getting my doctorate was my backup. And it just means so much more to me, like having my being a doctoral student than it does being an NFL player. Like
Mhm.
being honest, there's a lot of African Americans in the NFL. Like there's not a
Yeah.
scarcity of those. So being in a doctoral program, I'm able to like change so many different perspectives for people that I would never ever be able to touch if I was in the NFL, because they would just put me in a category. But now
Mhm.
seeing them in a white coat, that's why I wear this, to motivate other people. And I've gotten tons of DMs and people saying that that's inspiring. And I was like, wow, like literally I was just in the NFL and I got less than that, and you
Yeah.
would think it'd be the opposite. So it's been an eye-opening experience.
That's really cool. So, I love that you bring that up. So, how do you feel about diversity obviously in medicine is a huge subject right now in
Mhm.
many professions. How is it in the physical therapy profession? Because I know, in the PA profession, only
Mhm.
3.5% of PAs or unrepresented minorities or black, right? So
Yes.
it's not great. And so we're trying to obviously improve that. But how is it
Mhm.
in your field? Is it the same or are those numbers
It's
better?
very similar. It's the same. So I think
Okay.
I looked it up. I couldn't like specify physical therapy, but it said those with their doctorates, it's like less than 4%. So it's around the same as the PAs.
Why do you think that is?
First of all, it's what I was alluding to earlier. Like starting just in my own community, so I like to change what I could change, and that's me being a representation. So I think it
Mhm.
starts with having people of my color in positions that younger people can see, because
Mhm.
what they see now is a lot of athletes, which I wanted to be that, and I was that, and that's gone and passed. But I need to show them. We need to show them more than what they can be than just an athlete or what they
Mhm.
see on TV, if that makes sense.
It
So
does.
that's
It makes
probably the reason.
100% sense.
Yep.
Like, you're put into a certain sort of box or
Yep.
trajectory, right?
Hmm.
Especially a 6'4" black man
Exactly.
who,
Exactly.
is like,
Yeah.
a good athlete. So I can imagine that that's, you're just automatically kind of put into this box.
Hmm.
And the reason I found you on social media actually popped up on my For You page on TikTok.
Hmm.
And I literally like watched all your, it was like one of those
Uh-huh.
things. And I'm like, this guy is so inspirational, like for so many reasons. I just felt that you represented a population of people that doesn't get represented on social media, period. Like I haven't, I haven't seen that. So, and so I was like, I have to talk to him. I want to know, what's going on. But you also own a business, 2 businesses.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So I'm very, very entrepreneurial minded, and I want to open up my own clinic in the future.
Where does that come from? Where does that come from? Where does that?
I don't know. I guess I'll have to attribute it to my parents. My dad has a car shop, and he also had a restaurant. And I don't know, but yeah. So I have 2 businesses. One of my businesses is an entertainment company, which we service weddings for like DJing, and then we have videography services. Then my other one, which is my baby, it's called.
I was gonna say your baby. I know that one.
Fly Rentals, where we rent out scooters to students around campus, around Kalamazoo area, Michigan, and so they're able to rent the scooter for like a day, a week, or a month, and yeah. So I have my first summer with that actually this summer. So,
but be more active and be outside, and
exactly
do all of that as well. So that's pretty cool. So how do you balance like doing the business stuff with your schooling?
So for the I get asked this a lot too. So for the OD Entertainment, for the entertainment business for weddings, obviously that's only like on weekends. So that's like 5 to 6 hours on a Saturday. Okay. And that was a catalyst to me being able to do the scooter thing. Then the scooter thing is everything's online now. So it's all online. I can communicate through my app, and I have different things like that. And then I have a great family at home. So my dad is going to do all the deliveries. So literally I'll just send him a delivery list of where the scooters need to go. They show up at the person's house, and then they control everything through their phone like a key.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So of all these things that you do, what's your vision for yourself sort of in the future?
Like I said, I want to open up mini clinics.
Your own clinic?
Yeah, I want to open up mini clinics. And then, like, honestly, you would be surprised, but I'm literally, I hate speaking. But every day I feel called more and more to speak, like every day. I get all these opportunities, different podcasts, and people asking me to speak, coming in for like a pre-game speech for like different sports teams. So like I really feel called to do that. And then I just want to be an inspiration to people in any way that I can, whether that's verbally or just through my actions, and showing there's different ways and different things that you can do.
What do you feel has been the biggest challenge or obstacle throughout your educational career?
Honestly, I think the biggest challenge is the challenges that I put on myself.
Really? Your own expectations.
My own expectations. Sometimes like feeling that I don't belong, like especially when I first got into the doctoral program, like I look to the left and to the right of me, which I'm used to. I'm from a wealthier white community. So I'm kind of used to it, but I look to the left and the right. There's no other African American. So sometimes in my head, I get like, ooh, do I belong here? Like I need to do really well, or else I'm just going to be another statistic. And then this is what they already think about me. So I'm like representing the entire community through my university, which I want to give a shout out to my university, Midwestern University. They're doing a great job. They're trying to diversify the classes and the different medical programs and things around campus. And I'm seeing that. So that's great.
That's awesome. And so, and then, kind of on the flip side, like how does the doctoral program differ from your undergraduate education? What is that like? So a lot of people, so in the PA profession, the doctoral programs are newer. In the PT and OT, they're more established. What is that like? How does that take your education sort of to the next level?
I would say undergrad was a lot easier. It's a lot less demanding. But the doctoral program just, I don't know, it makes you an expert in that field. And it's just different going through and knowing this is what I'm going to be doing in my career. It's different than taking some of the undergrad classes where it's like, I just need to do this to get this degree. But now I'm really taking in everything and trying to learn the information. And I really want to be the best physical therapist that I can be. So I take that much more pride in my education now than I did before.
So when you say you want to open like mini clinics, what does that look like for you? Where, like, what are you going to specialize in? Is that going to be general PT? What does that look like?
So I'm torn. So I really want to like help bridge the gap, like the healthcare disparity, which I'm still able to do, maybe set up a program through my clinic, but I also want to work with like high level athletes and do like sports performance and things like that. So
yeah,
hopefully I can mix the two and be able to help this side, but also work with high level athletes to get what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. So, what made you want to be a PT? I know you've always been active, athletic, exercise. Is that something that sort of naturally just felt right for you? Kind of in the process.
It is literally it's just that I've never had an injury. Thank God, never had an injury or anything like that. So that didn't propel me to do it. It's just I've always been interested in athletics. And I thought this would be a great way. And I also love like the different verticals that I can do in physical therapy and the different settings that I can work in. Like,
yeah,
it's just great opportunities. I can do hospital, acute care. I can do outpatient. I can do sports. I can do niches.
Yeah,
so I
that's
love
awesome.
That.
So it's also a very versatile profession, you would say.
Exactly.
So I personally, I had never been to, so I thought that I wanted to be a physical therapist when I was in high school. So I volunteered at a PT clinic, like, trying to get some experience. And literally I was like, I don't think I can hear a bone crack. Like it was like, it was just, I was like, wow, I almost went into physical therapy programs and I don't like the sound of like certain things and like, and I'm like, I don't think this is for me. So I'm just going to pick like a bigger university. But I will say that, that I felt I had never actually been to a physical therapist myself until a year ago when I injured my hip running and my knee. And I didn't know what to expect. I had never been to like an outpatient physical therapy clinic. And I know that a lot of them are different in how they work and such. I was so impressed. I had, a PT that did like dry needling, and then we did like all these exercises. I mean, in 6 weeks, I felt so much better. I mean, and listen, I'm 43 years old. Like I never really been injured in my life. And I was like, this is horrible. I hate everything. I hate everyone. I can't exercise. Like, you better get me. I literally walked in. I'm like, you need to get me back like tomorrow. And the guy was like, dude, slow your roll, lady. Like,
slow down a little bit.
He's like, slow your roll and you can't run. I'm like, excuse you? I'm like, I'm supposed to do like a half marathon and like, whatever. And I'm like, I don't even really like running, but I promised somebody that I would do it. So you got to get me back on track. But it definitely forces you to kind of slow down and like readjust, your situation. And the thing I really loved about him was that he could do so many different things. It wasn't just movements. It was stretching. It was dry needling. It was, all these different cupping, like all these different things. I had no idea that was in that scope. And, within 6 weeks, I was back on my feet. So I really felt, it was a very good insight for me into what that really looks like. Do you feel that way? Do you feel the profession is versatile enough for you to be able to learn different techniques and all that?
Yes, that's what I love about it. There's so many different like certifications and techniques and philosophies that people follow. So that's what I really like about it as well. And then for like, from a consumer side, like when you went, there's so many different PTs you can choose from. I mean, if that person didn't work, you can go find a different method or something like that.
Right.
So that's what I really like about it. It's no one way.
That's great. And so I feel like, it's very funny. So we're both in sort of allied health professions, and they're very similar and different in a lot of ways, where they're very versatile in all of this. And we can have very good careers and happy lives, kind of making our schedules the way we want. But there are some issues, so what do you feel is the biggest issue with the physical therapy profession?
I think one thing that we just standardizing the care a little bit. I think there's so many different philosophies and stuff that there's no like methods to follow. And I think we learned this a little bit in class, but they want to like kind of narrow it down a little bit to this, follow this method. This is best way to do it in a way.
Yeah.
But
Make it a little more standardized across the board.
Yeah, exactly. Standardized. But still allow people to have like the different methods, but it needs to be like a standardization of care.
Yeah. That's actually important for a lot of different things. And do you feel that it was what is it like to get into a PT program? What does it take to get into a doctorate program to be, at your level? What does that take?
It's very competitive. Very competitive. I don't quote me on this, but I think the statistic is about 12 to 14% get in each year. Some people like 2 or 3 years and still can't get in. So it's very competitive, just like any program at this level. Very competitive. But for me, it was really cool, and it was a great opportunity. And I see that every day, especially when it gets hard, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. Then I'm like, there's literally thousands of other kids who would love to be in the same position. So I need to put this into perspective and remember when I was applying how much I wanted to be in PT school.
So when you were applying, did you have to already have worked as a PT? Like, did you have to have a certain amount of like PT hours before you applied to the DPT, or you just could do it right from school?
So different schools require different things.
Okay.
So I did, because I was playing football, it's hard for me to like go around and do that. But I did have to have what is it called? Drawing a blank. I wrote, I had to have observation hours in
okay.
To graduate, I had to have
like an internship or something, or like
okay. Sorry, I'll draw a blank. So I had to have an internship, and what I did was just know that I wanted to go to PT school. So then I just did my internship in undergrad in that, and that got me about 500 hours. So I like knocked that way out of the park. So
nice. Okay. So it's similar to PA, where it kind of varies a little bit about what you want to do. And you wanted to stay in Michigan.
I wanted to stay in Michigan. I'm in Chicago now, but this is close enough.
Yeah. Okay. So close enough to stay in the Midwest and kind of do everything you need to do.
Because of business.
Because your business is close by. Yeah. And so what would you say would be your biggest, like your number one piece of advice to somebody who, well, let's kind of break it up, because I get this a lot too. So like first I get a lot of high school students. So what would you say to a high school student that was like, I might want to be a PT? What should I do?
I would say you can do it. It's gonna take a lot of work, but you can do it. And the fact that they know they want to do it now is giving them an upside. So I would say, don't go into undergrad not taking your classes serious. Try to get good grades. Try to be involved in a lot of different things. They like multi-dimensional students. Like just having all A's is not going to get you in the PT school and a lot of other schools. That doesn't work. So I would say be involved and be able to speak to people, because the physical therapy field is speaking with people and interacting and communicating. So I would say do that. And
and what about if they're in college and they're thinking, oh, I should have done PT. I think I want to do it now. Like what would you say what would be the best route to try to, maybe get a master's degree and then go on to DPT? Or
I ran a couple of those messages too. I just tell people, if you go see a counselor, they have literally sheets that'll help you. So if you were like, for some reason, you're a communication major and you wanted to switch over for PT, then you need to go switch your counselor and see what classes that you have that meets that requirement and the classes that you don't. And then go take the classes that you don't at a community college or at your undergrad, and then you'll be ready to apply. And then every school is different too. So if you have a list of schools that you really want to get into for PT, I would say go look it up on a site called PTcast, and then you can find out what that school requires, and each are kind of different.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm going to ask you something a little bit more personal. You said you've never been injured or anything like that, but have you ever experienced racial bias as a patient, or have you ever witnessed that?
No, I have not.
You have not. Okay.
No, I would say a big reason too is because I was in the sports sector of it. and we had like team physicians, team this and stuff. So I was like not seeing the general, like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain. And then being like a starter and like being
Yeah.
someone with
You're elite. You're elite, right?
Yeah,
So like you're an elite athlete. So now you don't even go to a general practitioner. You go to the team doctors and the elite, kind of people. I think that's a very interesting point, actually.
Yes. I think it's a little bit different, but I'm sure there's out there. But personally, I can't lie and say that I've ever experienced it, but I've never seen it or experienced
it. I just wondered, because I've seen it myself, but I wondered, having been an athlete, I thought maybe that would be different, right? Because you were an elite athlete and still are, but and so it's the experience is a little different, right? In healthcare. But I think it's amazing that that you're trying to, first of all, you're not trying to, you are inspiring a lot of other people, because I think one of the biggest things that can be done is just showing up in your white coat, like you said, and having people see someone that looks like them.
Exactly.
It's a big deal. Like, and it just takes, and, whether it's, Black or Hispanic or whatever, it's a huge deal to encounter somebody in a medical profession that looks like you, that can identify with what, you're going through. And, I think it's really inspiring that you're doing that, across social media, in your businesses, as a PT. I can't wait to see what you do. And so I think it's amazing. So my last question would just be, if you had literally one line, like piece of advice that you would tell a student who's struggling and just wants to throw it in the toilet and be like, screw this, I'm out, what would you say?
I would say take a step back and remember why you started.
Yeah. Sort of dig back and find the why. What was your why? What was your original why? Do you remember?
For which aspect?
I mean, I think for all of it, because I think we all have a why for something, right? So, why medicine, why PT, and then, kind of go from there.
My why. This may sound cliche, but seriously, I want to be an inspiration, and I just want to show people that whether it's PT or you want to be a video gamer, you want to build houses, whatever you want to do, I just want to show people that they can do it. Go do it. Like if you have,
and also like you don't have to be put into a box, right? Just because you're a PT doesn't mean you can't be a business person.
Exactly. That's so true. And you know how many people, when I started my first business, oh, you starting the second one? How are you doing all this? You're not gonna have time. And like, I'd rather juggle. For me, I'd rather juggle like 30 balls and like 20 of them fall, but still have 10, rather than juggling one. And if that one falls, now I have nothing. So
Right. And it's so funny because I feel like in the medical profession, you're groomed to do one thing. Like you're just like, this is what you're going to do. Right. And so when you try to do the other things, people look at you and they're like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? What are you doing? But I'm kind of the same as you. It's kind of nice to have, and you also have different aspects of your personality, right? You're not just one thing. You're, when you're an athlete, you're a PT, you like medicine, but you're also business minded and want, have kind of bigger aspirations in that realm. I think it's nice to be able to feed those parts of your personality without being like structured into one box. And I feel like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes in medicine, you do get stuck, in that box. Kind of going forward. Well, seriously, I appreciate you being here so much. I found you on TikTok. Your Instagram handle is Odell Miller 25. Is it the same on TikTok?
It's the same on TikTok. TikTok is funny though. It's really funny there because literally I had a break in between school and I was like, let me see what this TikTok thing's about. So then I just made a couple of TikToks and then people were loving it and people were following me on Instagram from it. And I was like, wow, this TikTok thing is real.
Listen, I'm 43 years old. Okay. Someone's like, you got to get on TikTok. I'm like, excuse me. No. No. And here I
Not doing
am
this.
TikToking
Yeah.
away because it's just a different avenue to reach people, you know, and you never know who's going to be like, "Oh, I wanted to do that. I don't know about that." And so even though I was kind of closed-minded at first, it definitely is a strange platform to me, but it's funny how you find different people. And so I'm glad I found you there, and
I love
everybody
your
go follow him. Thank you
I
so
love
much.
your content. It's so great. It's like perfect for your person. I like because it's able to bring out your personality and stuff like that too. Like no one would have ever known that. Like your
Right.
customers and clients and
Right.
patients. Now they can
Like
see a different
I
aspect.
actually like personally love dancing and music. And so people, my friends are like, this is the perfect app for you. And then everyone else who doesn't know me that way was like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is
Yeah,
actually
like,
me. This is all my best
that's
friends are like,
awesome.
show us your best dance move, you know? But they die when they see my TikToks, but it's funny because you are able to show a different personality, which is like
Exactly.
a different
Exactly.
side of you that's not so businessy, which is kind of lovely.
Mhm.
But I really appreciate you being here, taking the time,
Thank
and
you.
keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you
much for
so
having
much.
me. This is amazing. Hopefully we can
You're
chop it up
welcome.
some more in the future.
I love it. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. See you later.
Bye.